Are we gonna be putting many little baby songs off of "It's Only Me" on there? Because uh, listening to Ruffs and "It's Only Me" back to back was like night and day for me. I'd say.
Yeah, man. I'm not sure because Lil Baby, kind of a victory lap type album. At least that's kind of the vibe he gives off as the performer on this, and this is expected to sell 200,000 first week. Lil Baby is a massive artist at this point. Probably the second biggest Atlanta artist right now after Future. Like he is at the top, and kind of surprisingly, at least surprisingly when it happened, he has surpassed Migos as the number one artist on Quality Control. He's definitely bigger than hotter than those guys these days. Um, but this is actually his first solo album since the Breakthrough one in 2020. Um, My Turn, which of course really exploded and stood on the charts forever. Then had that deluxe that both was a complete streaming, juicing the streams grab, but also had the best songs on it. Like We Paid, like it has been quite interesting to watch like this little baby rise. And now we're at the point where it's like, all right, well, are the records here? Because Little Baby has a lot of popular songs, a lot of really good songs, and has definitely impressed me in the time since I first heard him, in like 2017, 2018 time. And now it's like, huh, well, what's next for Little Baby? Because he's at the top, he's super successful. What is there left to achieve? And it didn't come across to me like he had any grander ambition on It's Only Me, 23 song, 65-minute album. It just kind of felt like a lot of what Little Baby's up to, but he just seemed not as um, finely tuned, not as invested in the work this time around. There's moments for sure because I think his natural talent can just kind of ooze out of songs, but for like Little Baby is like at the top, let me maintain my status album. Why are the beats so bland and cheap sounding? Like this is such a polar opposite of like the Freddie Gibbs album we just got, which was so lush and loaded with A-list producers. There are big name producers on this Little Baby album, but these beats suck. And I think that's just a huge demerit because also Little Baby seems a little uninterested at times. And if the beats aren't helping you out either, like there's just a lot of stinkers.
Yeah, yeah. I already wasn't really like a huge fan of Little Baby, so I guess I'll like caveat with like I wasn't going into this with a lot of expectation. But I did just feel like the album felt very similar, like track to track. It felt fairly low energy. And I gotta be honest, like I don't really like his voice already, and he doesn't do much here to like impress me outside of just being like a competent rapper. And I get that he's huge, like, and people love him, and maybe it's just like a taste thing for me, but I just found this to be quite a slog. It's interesting to like be looking through the track list here and seeing some of the collaborators.
Hmm.
Ellie Goulding on In a Minute. He's got
Oh yeah,
Ryan
well, that's the
Adams.
sample, of
Yeah,
course. The Drake Pound
he's
Cake sample all over again.
yep, and he like samples Ryan Adams a few songs later on "Cost to Be Alive." It's like he's like got some interesting like things here that I'm like, huh, like he's pulling from some inspiration that I wouldn't expect, but I don't feel like anything comes across here where I'm like, man, really inspired work on this.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too. Like Little Baby's like biggest fans, and like if you a new book just came out this week, Rap Capital by Joe Coscarelli at the New York Times. It's about like the rise of Atlanta rap, and Little Baby's a huge part of this book, which I'm eager to read. People like Joe, people that are huge fans of Little Baby, like genuinely like critically like huge fans of his, would speak to like his vocal talent and how he can kind of like enunciate words in a certain way, and he can kind of uniquely communicate um kind of like witty like observations in his rapping style. And like I've tried to listen for it and I can hear it sometimes where it's like, yeah, there's a lot more under the hood with like his rapping ability than your average like Atlanta trap star. I agree with that. But I just think on this record it just felt a lot more low effort than, and I think that's another piece too. It's like his albums have always and mixtapes have always been bloated, but there's been like the brilliance tucked away, right? And I think this time it's still really bloated, and there's just like less examples of his like great talent, and therefore there's a lot less to recommend as a result. So I think for me, my favorite thing about it was probably Danger. You know, just one of the random songs. There are many, but Danger. I think he had one of like I think a textbook like Little Baby Good line where he's like PTSD. I ain't sleep, so I don't got dreams. Like, you know what? That's like the type of like street pain shit that he made his name on. That is like great lyrics from Lil Baby. And I think the last song, the closer, Russian Roulette, him talking about trying to like slow his life down after finding all this success. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. But so many of these other tracks are just so paint by numbers, and not that he can't do cliche. By all means, do it, but he's just not doing it that well, and therefore it's hard to recommend.
Um, I think for fans of him though, this isn't going to deter them. Like, this is kind of just what he does, and
Mhm.
I don't think this is probably going to be any of their favorite albums, but uh, I don't think this is going to be like the best thing he ever makes either. So
Yeah,
I think this is just kind of like a throwaway almost for him, right?
I,
Like,
I agree.
better days to come.
There was actually a quite a funny line to me, which was towards the beginning on California Breeze, where one of his bars is number one on YouTube. And I'm like, actually, no, you are not
Yeah,
number
no.
one on YouTube. NBA YoungBoy is number one on YouTube. You are number two usually on YouTube, my
Yeah,
guy.
I had the same thought when he said that. I was like, I don't know if that's accurate.
Yeah, God, YoungBoy still does like 50 million on YouTube every single week. The dude's insane. All those little
I,
kids who don't have money for streaming services.
Anyways, maybe we'll add a track from him to our Nostalgia Best of 2022 playlist.